What's up, Pisces? We got this particular card, and this card is from the Herbal Astrology Oracle deck, and this is by Adriana Ayales. Okay, and we'll do the card description, and then we'll do the actual reading. This particular card is Mitragnia? Shape-shifting is the subtext. Subconscious healing, synchronizing inner and outer worlds, shape-shifting, time travel, transcendence of illusion, and the indigenous people of Southeast Asia have valued the power of this rainforest tree for thousands of years and have used it as a poultice to treat wounds, as well as treatment for a variety of symptoms including stress, pain, fatigue, and fever. Like coca leaves in the South American highlands, fresh leaves from the Mitragnia tree are chewed for energy, stamina throughout the day. Mitragnia was revered among monks in Asia as it assisted them during long periods of meditation by providing focused attention and positive energy. As early as the 19th century, kratom became well known as an opium substitute and quickly became a curative treatment for withdrawal from opium addiction. It became more popularized in the West due to Mitragnia's use in Thailand, Malaysia, surrounding areas, helping with those morphine dependents. Mitragnia embodies the elements of both Saturn and Neptune as it profoundly relieves and decompresses the musculoskeletal system while granting a freeing and euphoric feeling to the body and mind. Used in the right amounts, it can greatly assist those with addiction. Guidance portion. The balanced side of Mitragnia represents the ability to shapeshift and adapt across realities. Like the dragonfly, Mitragnia grants us the power to break through the illusionary facade we often accept as reality, providing us the freedom from pain in order to break through limiting illusions. Dragonfly, like Mitragnia, helps us initiate subconscious healing from the trauma experienced from endless cycles of pain and suffering. Dragonfly medicine invites us to seek out the parts of our habits that have gone unchanged, unnoticed, and stagnant. Ask yourself, have I tended to these changes that I've been wanting to make? Don't get lost in the labyrinths of self-doubt. Break free from elusive belief systems that hold back your transformation. Okay, first off, a few things. One, this is actually the second card pull. I knew I got the same one for you guys. Was it Chiron, the Wounded Healer? What was it? Dandelion, yeah. But I decided to pull again because I was just like, hey man, just do something new for this week, please. And I ended up definitely getting a lot of the same message in terms of actually the concept of healing again. But and that does kind of point to the idea that whatever's maybe taking form, in terms of any of the wounds that we've accumulated, going back to fix that is going to be very important, right? Or not going back to fix that, but going back to really put a finishing touch, I'll say, right? So a capping of that particular period. It's important, and it's not something that we really should ignore and understand and really try to take a deep understanding of any type of pain that we've had accumulated in the past. And that's going to be something that's going to help us in not only our own endeavors in terms of with the 3D reality, but it's going to help us in terms of actually how we help other people. That's going to be very important. Also, the idea of, and we'll probably get back, well, yeah, that message was pretty spread throughout, but the idea here is also addiction that came out, and I have another reading that was for addiction. Was it? I think it was Gemini. Yeah. So you can go back and read the Gemini from this week as well, or go back and look at the Gemini this week as well. Especially if addiction is something that you've really kind of have a strong resonance towards in terms of that energy in itself, and you need to understand that there's a freeing that you're going to get when it comes down to the face-to-face reality that you can come to when looking at past wounds and things that you've accumulated. When you look at it and you recognize it, it becomes less of a scar and more of a callus in general, right? And that is the difference here, is that callus is more useful than the scar in itself, right? That scar you can't quite, you'd hesitate to use, a wound that's actively in pain, but when you develop more of a callus to it, it's different. But that callus won't really form by ignoring the wound, right? That addressing, there has to be an understanding that this is what caused it, this is what I am not going to allow happen, but not through avoidance, through an understanding, a deep understanding of, okay, well, I know these are the signs, right? So I'm thinking about like a woman who doesn't get into another relationship because she was hurt in the last one, right? And that's a good story that maybe someone may tell themselves, right? That doesn't quite make sense when you think about the future, though, right? It's something that feels good to say that, I'm really strong because I can kind of exist without the relationship. But the callous is really understanding that I can enter into a new relationship, and I understand the patterns of the old relationship, and I accept the risk here, and that is the callus forming. That's the formation of a callus. Now, we have a unique ability, or I said we. I keep saying we. Am I saying we the whole time? I hope not. You guys are not supposed to know that I'm also a Pisces, but this is like a different thing. So let's go back. We need to, or you need, you need to understand that this concept of breaking limiting illusions is a special power, and it comes with just it comes with a lot of the imagination, right? So we imagine something before it actually happens, right? We have to see it in our we have to see it first. And there's a very much an imaginative understanding that is required to really end a lot of really the cycles that we're in now. There's a significant amount of the imagination that's really required to build this new world and this new system that makes it more easy to break. Because we have a lot of cycles of pain and suffering and things of that nature, but when we take the time and really start to use our mental energy to picture this new world, that's when things start to form. That's when things start to take root, right? That's when, like, there's a clung. I'm picturing, like, that's when the clung on the ladder materializes for us to grab, right? That's materialization is going to require this picturing of a new world. And I think we really should, like, this idea of going back, looking, and understanding of the calluses that form. This is how we graduate from this more easily taken path of really escapism to start to move into very real spiritual understanding, right? A much more healthy way to address the unknown or the fear in general, right? Or move into the unknown. We got making this, you know, this new world. It's going to require people who have been scarred from the old one, because the understanding that has to be built into the new world is going to have to come from people who understand many dimensions of the old world. It's not going to be able to, you're not going to have, like, just this magical, like, person come up who has never, like, this magical billionaire, like, thinking about, like, Elon Musk is fraud. But the idea of, like, these guys coming up and trying to portray themselves as leaders of society and things of that nature, and they don't know pain. They really don't. They don't know a lot of the ailments in society. They know what they've been what they've been living in their particularly bubbled lifestyle, right? And that's not going to get us to the next generation. That's not the energy that builds the next world, right? We can't have that. So this idea of where we're at today, it is we have to really begin to do certain things, right? So the calluses have to form. This idea of, also, you should understand the concept of how you can protect your particular energy, your particular atmosphere, whether that be from the absence of people, or if people have to be around you and you kind of realize that, because, I mean, sometimes it happens, right? or you're in your in your space for a second, have an understanding of how to really create borders between yourself and other people, and create separations between yourself and other people. And you can look into how to do that in certain ways. It's what we're doing here is it's very, very important, because well, like we can look back, right? We can look back on, if you're a great poet, you can look back. You'll never, you can look back and realize, hey, I'll never be Langston Hughes. If you're a great like artist, or a scientist of some kind, you'll look back. You'll say, hey, I'll never be like Leonardo da Vinci. You can look back and say these things, and you're right. You won't be them, right? And that's not the thing. Is that's not encapsulating what today means, right? Because the concept here of a renaissance, the renaissance that's taking place today, I am quite certain. I feel certain, but I feel like I also need to keep this 3D reality, keep in this 3D reality. When I say this, I think it's very likely that we're in a time period that's going to shadow a lot of what's taken place in the history, right? And people will look back on this time period, the people in this time period, what they've done, what they're, in the same ways that we look back on historical figures, right? And they'll say, okay, we and they'll have their own battles. It's like, hey man, that was the time to be alive for them, or that was the time to be alive, but the time goes on or whatever. But the idea here is, don't believe that you don't have, you're not this thing that you may be grappling with, this time, like these complications. Don't think that it's just for you. Don't think that it's just right now. The reverberations that take place, that have to take place in repairing society, this is something that you're laying the groundwork for generations after. So breaking free from this particular idea, what you do, how you really, really like cure yourself, other people, create calluses. You need to think about that. You need to have a very real understanding of who that can help, who that likely is going to help. And with that being said, thank you for listening, and I hope you have a good week.